and welcome. You're joining Medically Speaking. Today, we'll be talking about the NEET examinations, the exam which is dreaded by many students, which many look forward to, but an exam which has always been mired in a lot of controversy, be it the language in which it's conducted or be the date of the exam. One controversy or the other has always surrounded the NEET examination. So today, we'll be looking at it from a purely student-professor point of view. Today, we'll be talking about the anxiousness of the students, what the students go through, how they can prepare, and perhaps even ace the exam. To take this debate forward, I'm joined by a panel of experts and also by a first-year medical student and a few NEET aspirants. Right now with me is Professor K.S. Rana. He is the Vice Chancellor of the Mewar University from Rajasthan. Thank you, sir, for joining us on NewsX. We'll also be joined very, very shortly by Dr. Kaushal Verma. He's the ex-Dean of Examination at AIIMS. In some time, we'll open, of course, our line for students who have a lot of questions, curious minds to ask these experts, professors, the former dean examinations of AIIMS. Let me start right away without much ado. Professor Rana, first question, a very basic one, which really is in the mind of every student, and I'm sure you've heard many NEET aspirants ask you this question. So how do we ace the exam? We are worried the exam is just around the corner. The admit cards have come in. How do I prepare last minute? Any tips and tricks you have?
System of examination is your under AIIMS control, and I think NEET is an essential component for academic community. The students raising questions, I think, are related somehow to the COVID epidemic, and some are politicized. Basic theme is that we have to retain the academic system or we have to politicize it. This is the basic theme of this entire episode, as I think.
All the question marks first. Every year we've seen a lot of controversy around the NEET examination. How do you think it affects the psyche of the students, sir? Does it create a lot of unnecessary pressure on genuine and perhaps hardworking students who had been preparing for the NEET examination?
No pressure, as I think. The system is going under those persons who are under political control. The government have to retain to their old traditions, and somehow minimum changes can be possible. Not major drastic change can be made.
Okay. And Dr. Kaushal has also joined us. Dr. Kaushal Verma, he's the ex-Dean of Examinations from AIIMS. Thank you, sir, for joining us. So we've discussed some points as far as the controversy around NEET is concerned, sir. I'm going to take the same question forward. How useful do you think the NEET exam is? Because there are many students, and it's always been mired in controversy. There are many students who are raising a lot of fingers on one, the exam itself, second, the language in which it's conducted. And we are also aware of a state, Tamil Nadu down south, which is actually thinking of scrapping the NEET examination and going purely by the marks which students secure in their class 12 board.
Yeah, I said, I think NEET is a good platform which gives equal opportunity to all the students to compete from a same system. There is no one system which can be called a perfect system, but we have to look at the benefits and the disadvantages that a system can have. And this appears to be quite a good system in the sense that, as I said, that the equal opportunities are there. But there could be some limitations with this system also, like the one very important point which was raised earlier also, that people are the students who are studying in metropolitan cities. They have a good, education system. They have been taught well, or maybe their language has been very strong in the sense that their English has been the advantage to them, which the other smaller town candidates or the students may not have, or maybe the regional languages where the English is not the first language or English is not the primary language, they might have difficulties. But, considering these other issues, but if you look at in totality, in one exam, the candidate is able to choose as to where does he figure or where does she figure and where he can or she can be placed. And they do not have to appear in multiple exams, which used to happen earlier.
Yeah.
So in that sense, Neet appears to be a good proposal. But of course, there are limitations of the states and there are limitations of the languages, which I think can be addressed because, we at All India Institute of Medical
Yes, then it will
Sciences
give, of course, a fair play to all India, to students pan India, and not just, of course, be an advantage to those who are in the metropolitans. But sir, since you say they're not medical, multiple examinations, of course, for Neet and MBBS aspirants, there is just one examination. But there was, of course, a lot of hullabaloo around the date also this time around, because it's clashing with a lot of other examinations. Of course, the SC has not taken that petition into consideration, and they've said the students need to prioritize. What would you say about those who are asking till date for postponement of examination?
No, I think the dates should be set in such a manner, like we have been conducting examination for a long time, and we have been corroborating and asking the other major institutions and the examination conducting bodies also, do they have dates which is clashing with our dates? And then we used to keep the date in such a way that yes, it's convenient to all. And also it has sufficient time for us to prepare to hold that examination.
So, do you think this date, so do you think that the date which has been set this year, which is of course the 12th of this month, should it have been extended, or do you think that it's the right decision?
No, I think the date should have been planned in such a way that it is convenient to all, and it should not have been clashing with that. This is how the policy is done. Making a comment about a specific date, I think, is not right. Whether this date is suitable or the other date is going to be suitable, it should be chosen in such a manner that it doesn't clash with major exams. But sometimes it does happen that, yes, it might clash with some minor exams. So then the students will have to make a decision as to what priority they have for which exam they should appear. But I mean, making comment on a specific date, I think that's not appropriate.
All right. No, I ask you this because, even on Twitter a few days ago, of course, the hashtag was justice for Neet aspirants. It was the number one trend. Of course, political parties also pushed these trends. But since we've, of course, addressed the few controversies around it, and it's a question I had asked Dr. Rana also, sir, before you joined. And the question was, when you have so many controversies around a certain examination, exam date itself becomes legalese. It goes to the courts and gets dragged. Do you think it affects the psyche of students, or it could really create pressure on those who are planning to appear for the exam, considering there is, of course, a slight uncertainty regarding the NEET exam, and it's been happening from last year itself?
I think the clear decision should have been made at that time when the date was decided that, yes, this is going to be date. And if you announce well in advance, then the candidate know also that 3 months onward, or maybe 6 months or 4 months from now, I have this specific exam coming. So I am to be ready with this exam. And then the other issues, I think, should not come. Once you announce the date well in advance, like say 3 months before the date, that yes, this is the date that I'm going to hold the exam, or this exam is going to be.
I think this time the students didn't have a problem with the announcement or the gap. They had a problem because it was crashing with other examinations as well. Those who, of course, wanted to keep their multiple options in case they don't clear NEET. They want
as I said earlier also, that the date has to be chosen in such a manner in consultation with other examination holding, say, organizational bodies also, that this should not generally be clashing with any major exam. And this is how we have been using, like AIIMS has been holding exams which are, say, very high prestige nature, and then we were consulting other examination bodies like PJ Chandigarh. That time they were holding exams, and then say the national board and other examination bodies, and we were telling them well in advance that these are the dates that we are going to hold the exam. And earlier we also had the fixed system, like undergraduate, the MBBS entrance exam is going to be held on 1st of June every year, irrespective of the day and the holiday or the status of say.
Fair enough. And so, since we're talking of the date of the exam, let's also talk about the timing of the examination. Now, this time, of course, the timing has been reduced. The number of questions has been increased. Do you think it could be a tricky situation for students? And if yes, any tips for them? to really perform well in the upcoming exam? Because that's the biggest question which we've been asked by all the students.
I
right
would
now.
think they would have been ready, preparing for the NEET exam for a long time. It would not have suddenly come that they have the exam coming now or very little time is left. Somebody who is aspiring to compete for the NEET, they would have thought well in say several months, maybe a year or maybe longer than the exam schedule, that yes, they are going to compete for this exam and they would be mentally ready.
Absolutely, I'm sure they'll be mentally ready. But I was just asking, and if Dr. Rana, if you could also come in here, sir. Any last minute tips, any last minute tricks which you'd want to share for students? What do you think they can do to ace the exam? And I know it's a little last minute.
They should
have been preparing for a long time, but any last minute
they should appear with confidence.
First, Professor Verma.
They should appear with confidence, because I'm sure that they knew that they are competing for this exam. They were mentally prepared and they should appear with confidence.
All right, appear with confidence. That's the tip, of course, coming from your side. Dr. Rana, would you like to add anything to it?
I think it will create chaos when demanding. It is planner, means controller of examination, headache. He try and plan every aspect of the student's considerations. After all considerations, giving proper thought, they decide the dates. So I don't think there is any problem in conducting examination in due course.
Okay, I think the view coming from both of you is that the date should not be moved, and students, of course, should make their peace with it. But let's take in really some questions from students as well. We have a lot of curious youngsters who have joined us on the program. We have Nivedita Sahib, who are, I think, NEET aspirants, and we also have Ayushi and Sehwag, who have joined us. Nivedita, please quickly ask one question from the professor. I'm going to give one question to each student, and of course, you all can take these questions.
Should I start my video as well?
Go ahead. Yes, Nivedita, please go ahead.
Good evening, sir. I'm Nivedita. I'm a first-year student, and I wanted to ask you, what are the changes or amendments you think that should be made in a school level so that people can appear better in competitive exams or for competitive exams? What are the things they should be taught from their school so that they can do easily in competitive exams like me?
Okay, Professor Verma, why don't you take this one?
I think she is asking what should be taught for them to be more confident and compete effectively.
At the school level itself.
At the school level. I think I am not the right person to advise, because I am in a tertiary care teaching medical institution,
yes.
And we are primarily involved teaching the postgraduate students and the PhDs and say the students and the candidates at that level.
Okay, why don't we ask them, Dr. Rana, what do you think? What needs to change in class 12? Maybe in the school curriculum itself, so that students are better prepared to take on the NEET examination.
The school level is gone chapter now, because students are prepared for examinations. Corona epidemic was really damaging issue, but this advanced time is supporting them. 2-3 months are clear. The corona epidemic, it was ended by the 50th May, I think. So one thing that students have to make up their mind for examinations. The dates are coincided with other examinations. It is headache of the controller of examination. They keep all the things in mind when prepare the scheme for examinations. As far as school is concerned, some syllabus may be given advanced stage in schooling, but now this question doesn't arise.
All right. So basically, students need to start preparing much in advance. There is not much of a change which I think can happen in the school curriculum. It's just really your preparation in advance. You have to, of course, start thinking months, or perhaps, I'm sure, since you're already a first-year student, maybe perhaps years in advance, and start preparing for the NEET exam.
First of all, good evening, sir.
Good evening.
Today, I'm going to ask a question, sir. At the time when we are seeing that there are speculation of third wave of COVID-19, can you tell me how can we prepare mentally for it to give exam in such
Okay.
uncertainties?
Okay, so it's not on the Hindi English divide as I thought. I thought you want to ask a question on that also. But anyway, let's take a question on COVID. I think it's a very valid question, Professor Verma, isn't it?
Right.
There is genuine fear of the COVID third wave also. And there could be some students who may want to drop this year, try next year because they're just too scared of catching COVID, even though zero surveys, etc., are quite
Right.
positive. What will you say to those who have a fear of appearing in examinations in this time?
When is the exam scheduled now? 12th of October or?
It's the 12th, sir.
12th of October.
It's this month, sir.
This month. 12th of this month.
This month is
Yes,
September. Oh, which is say 3 or 4 days from now.
Yes, that's why the fear.
Yeah, I don't think that's a major issue in this sense that we know that, yes, we have been advocating this from different platforms on different occasions. There are two things which are important for any this kind of activity. One is that you have to absolutely and mandatorily and compulsorily and strictly adhere to COVID appropriate behavior, which is masking. And I'm sure the seating arrangement has been made in such a way that there is reasonable distance between the students, between the candidate. And then we have talked about this issue when the 12th board exam was supposed to be held. And then eventually it was cancelled, or maybe it was not held. So that time also, you don't need to move in clusters. You can individually go to the centers. Centers will have the arrangements to take you in. You go to the rooms, don't meet your friends, sit down on the table and your chair, on your seat, do the exam and come back. There would be sanitizers and the hand hygiene measures there in the schools and on the gates. I'm sure those precautions would have been taken by the management, the school management, and the exam holding bodies. So that, I think, is not one of the major issues. The other activities are going on, like the colleges, the universities are open. We are open. We have been having students from July on.
And I think absolutely, not just your university, even private universities are open, isn't it? Professor Rana, I'm sure you'd agree with Dr. Verma that
I know are not vaccinated. Very important is COVID appropriate behavior, which is masking compulsorily and effectively all the time that they are there, now out of their house, and maintaining the social physical distancing and hand hygiene. These are very effective tools, very effective measures for control and not acquiring.
Everyone would agree with Ayushi. Quickly, your question, please, and I'll take the Dr. Rana in that case.
Madam, state government of Rajasthan have conducted examinations. Just I was monitoring today also in Udaipur, Mewar, Bhilwara for state level competitions. And all the preventive measures were taken, no problems. And the time of examination was in 2 shifts.
So authorities are taking all the measures from your side. You need to take, of course, social distancing.
Every authority is very much sincere in this matter.
Yes, absolutely. Ayushi, please ask your question quickly because we are reaching the end of our show and I want to give a chance to all the students who are here with us.
Hi, good evening, sir.
Yes, Ayushi, go ahead. Please ask your question quickly.
Yeah, am I audible?
Yes, you are. Yes, you are.
Long time though, but some part of my syllabus is still left. So what are the last few days strategies I can adopt that I can complete my syllabus on time?
Okay. Dr. Vrana, you can take it, and then Dr. Verma. I know Professor Verma had said that last minute preparations are not really the answer, but there could be part which students are still left unprepared with. Anything which they can do at this point of time?
She is wanting to know what she can do on the last day to perform well or better than other students, how she should be.
Yes, and she's left with parts of
Absolutely.
syllabus.
Absolutely. My advice is that have a good sleep, go for a movie in the evening, and mentally be ready that yes, you are preparing for the exam. You can't do much in the last 2 days or 3 days. Whatever that you have studied in the past is going to be useful. Our system is geared in such a way that you have very strong recall memory. If you have read it and you've studied hard, there is no necessity of studying in the last 2 days or 3 days. Relax, spend your time peacefully, have a good sleep, maybe go for some entertainment, go for something. Don't stress yourself, and sure you will do well.
Well, all the students are smiling as you answer this question. So I don't know how many of them really agree with your advice or how many of them can really keep their mind stress-free. But of course, I hope that this is a time when you need to really maintain your calm and not take any stress. Sehwag, do you have a question which you'd like to ask the professors as well?
Good evening, all. This is Shehwag, first year MBA student. So I have a question. With the advent of technology, in what ways a medical student should equip himself to cope up with the competition in today's world? Because today we have a lot of competition among the medical field. And what are all the specifications to be kept in mind while choosing a specialty course?
They choose the specialty course. How do they prepare themselves for the competitiveness which is already in this field? Professor Verma, this
Okay.
I think you.
I guess he is already in a medical school.
Yes.
He is in the first year student, medical student.
Yes, I am first year.
Yeah. And you want to know about how to proceed with your further studies, especially looking at the specialization in a particular specialty in future. I think the first thing for you is to study your MBBS course quite well. Learn the clinical skills, learn the theoretical aspect, and after you have done a good job with your training as MBBS student, become a good doctor. And then you think about and begin during this course, you will come to know and you will realize that which area interests you more or which is the best suited for you as a specialist. Do not decide from the first semester or from the first year. Move with a good, strong base. And when you reach to the final year, or maybe in the final professional, and that time you should start looking as to what is interested, what interests you. If you start focusing your mind, you might be choosing a wrong specialty. So train yourself and study well, become a good doctor, the basic doctor, and then decide as to where you want to move.
Okay. Fair enough. So take your time and you will know by the end of your course, perhaps what really or where your interest lies in.
And also it does not matter even if you have to spend 1 extra year for getting the specialty of your choice, because that decides your entire future career and your life goals.
All right. I think that's a very pertinent advice, sir. Ayushi, you had a question as well, if I'm right, about the Hindi-English divide. I thought Sahib wanted to ask it. Please go ahead with your question, because there are a lot of students who want to write their exams in Hindi. You had a question, of course, about regional and the Hindi-English divide in the field itself. Ayushi, your question, please. Pooch sakte apna sawal. Yeah, I think the audio is off, sir, but then not just Ayushi. I think some other students had also asked us this question, and this question had come to us in Hindi also, that
they can ask in Hindi, they can ask in any other language.
Yeah, sir, वो सवाल ही यही था कि हिंदी इंग्लिश में एक divide है, is what some students who are appearing for the exam also in Hindi, and they want to ask क्या वो एक disadvantage में रहेंगे अगर वो Hindi language में NEET exam देते हैं, and if their proficiency is in Hindi and not in English. Professor Rana, आप क्या कहना चाहेंगे उस students
ऐसा नहीं. Language is no hurdle in the examinations. Subject matter is main thing. Either you write in Hindi, you write in Malayalam, Telugu, Tamil, English, whatever it is scientific temperament. Your question must be scientifically foolproof. हिंदी में लिखिए, चेन्नई में बैठे हैं वहां उसमें लिख दीजिए, लेकिन क्वेश्चन का जो आंसर मांगा गया है वो आंसर का ग्रे मैटर कंप्लीट होना चाहिए.
All right, fair enough. I think that should clear the doubt of a lot of students. I apologize, I've forgotten which student had written that query to us. It was one of them. So my last question to both of you, both the professors, as we wrap. Professor Verma, since we've spoken about, of course, the importance of the NEET examination, we've also spoken about the way students should prepare and how there's really no magic trick to crack this exam. It really takes years of hard work. Those who don't crack it this year, of course, don't lose heart. You have next year as well. Any suggestion you'd like to give students who are appearing this year? And also, many states are saying, and this is a different question, but many states like Tamil Nadu say that get rid of Neet. We only want to look at class 12 examination. Do you think it's the right approach or not?
You want me to respond?
Yes, sir. First you,
Yeah.
and then I'll wrap with Dr. Rana.
Well, I think I probably do not have the mandate to make any comment on the policy issues, but we have already talked about the advantages that the Neet has and maybe certain disadvantages that also are there, which are inherent to any system for that matter, even if you do it in the local language. And earlier the states were holding the exams separately, and then there was a joint exam also, and then the different institutions were holding their exams. So there used to be multiple exams, and there were multiple problems. And that is why the idea came that we should have one unified exam, one single platform where the students can choose. And later also there was one combined exam at the All India level, and then some states were holding their state exams also for a certain number of seats in their local language. I think that was also a fairly decent system, in the sense that the students had appearing in two exams, one at the All India level and one they were appearing for the state level. By any chance, if they are left out in the All India level, they were competing with the second exam also, so they had an opportunity. But now it depends as to what policy the government adopts and what is considered to be best in the interest.
Fair enough. Keeping the policy aside, any suggestions for students this year, sir?
This year is 3 days. I would think that yes, there is not much that can be done in the 3 days time. Relax, and whatever that you study, try with that. And by any chance, if you don't get through, maybe next year you start from say beginning. Don't rely on the last say few weeks studies. That yes, that's going to help you. It's the basic foundation, the continuous study that makes the difference. Last few days may be just helpful to revise your curriculum, revise your syllabus. But you think you can learn new things in the last few days? That's not done.
All right. And Dr. Rana, last word to you. So what would you like to say to students? As Professor Verma also said, those who are not able to perhaps unfortunately clear the exam this year, what should they do? Not lose hope, I'm sure. And how do they prepare from scratch? So they can always try next year. This is not the end of the world at the end of the day.
Absolutely.
I think the students are creating hype of this corona epidemic, what I feel. Actually, now students are free. All the public places are overcrowded. Where is epidemic? No fear anywhere. As far as study is concerned, they might have been prepared since year before. And now they have 2 months in advance to prepare and revise their syllabus and question hours, whatever is there. So I don't think there is any problem in conducting examination.
All right, no problem in conducting examinations. And Dr. Rana really wants to again and again emphasize the point about corona. Whatever question I asked you bring it back to how students should not fear the epidemic. So I hope it's really taken some fear, considering, of course, we've really hammered this point through the show and repeatedly how corona pandemic this year really should not stop you from taking your examination. Use social distancing, of course, ensure that you're wearing your mask. Prepare well, prepare in advance. In the last few days, there isn't much point of taking a lot of load. Be relaxed, give your exam. And in case you're not able to clear, try it next year. Who am I to say? I never even attempted it. I know I couldn't clear, but life doesn't end there. I hope this episode has been useful to the students and their parents who did watch it. Do subscribe to our page. Do like our page. We will be updating or bringing out all the updates related to the new Neet exam in the coming 3-4 days. And thank you for watching, and thank you all the panelists, professors and students for joining us, taking out time to answer all these questions. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
For more such videos, subscribe to the NewsX YouTube channel, hit the bell icon.